Hey, what up, though, people? It's your boy Detroit Kool-Aid coming at you live from the Woodward Sports Studios. Man, how you guys doing? This is the NBA Draft Lottery Show. And we couldn't be happier. What you guys just saw right there was from last year's Draft Lottery Show. It was our reaction, man. Yo, it went viral, went everywhere. You saw what Detroit drew in there. We saw Easy. Saw a lot of our people in there.
Everybody, the original crew, man.
Hey, we had it. And this year, I can't be more proud to be rocking it out with Mr. Jeff Iafredi and Sean Murphy.
Let's go, everybody.
Let's go.
It's time.
Hey,
It's time.
For the people, you got to do it some justice.
It's time, everybody. It is the NBA Draft Lottery Special here with
Let's
Woodward
go.
Sports and Woodward Pistons, man. You better be hyped because we have people in this studio all with us, guests that are joining us live. First of all, in studio with us, we got Terry Foster
Let's go.
and Lexi on the couch. What's going on, guys? How you doing?
We're doing fine, but let me admit, I don't want to be here tonight. I don't. But because y'all were acting so bad last year, management calls me up. They said, did they invite you to the show? I said, well, I haven't heard anything yet. Well, you got to go.
Yeah.
Because you guys destroyed the studio last year. You had women running around here nude, the titties hanging out, all this kind of stuff. And they said, you can't do that.
Trouble, man.
Hey, Jeff and I were not here last year. However, we're going to hold it down.
Yeah.
We have a great show. And Kool-Aid,
Yep.
we have a guest that's joining us right off the bat, do we
Hey,
not?
we do have a guest that's joining us. I hope he's ready. Mr. Kuka Hill, the host of Locked On Pistons. Hey, and I also know who else was here last year. We got Mr. Easy over there on the boards. He was the one responsible.
The one and only.
Mr.
Okay.
Easy,
He was on
baby.
Easy.
I'm going to beat his ass.
You better close that door behind you.
Yo, man, and you know what? This night, it wouldn't be possible without the man on the boards tonight, Mr. Stick. What's good, sir?
Yeah, what's going on,
What
Stick?
up?
What's good, bro?
I'm ready. I wasn't here last year. I was doing my fantasy draft at this time, and I missed
Yep.
out on all the
I remember he
excitement.
said
So
Not that I got mad. Everybody, I wasn't here last year. That was them. Nobody was here.
Everyone's
last
got to
year.
deflect the blame, Terry. No
The
one can take
studio
it.
destroyed itself. Okay,
It
I
did.
get
It did.
Sure.
I heard the same thing.
Yeah, no,
I heard the same thing.
That's on Easy, remember? That's on him. That's not on us.
Yeah.
That's not on me.
Yeah, that can't be
He
on.
was a bad
I'll take
influence on
blame
me,
for
sir.
being the turn-up king of Woodward Sports. I'll do
The
it.
turn-up
Stick
king.
and I share that staff.
The
in
wild
man.
child.
Hey, I
Wild
like that,
child.
man.
We
I
here,
like
baby.
that. I like that, yo. I know we're trying to get
Yeah, we're trying to get Kuka Heel on the line with us right now. Not sure if he's here with us, but while we're waiting, guys, tonight, let's go over the lottery odds real quick.
Yep.
For those of you that do not know, the Detroit Pistons do share tied for the top 3 lottery odds in this draft. They have a 14.3% chance at that top overall pick. Last year was
Yes,
the first
sir.
time the Pistons won since 1970 with Bob Lanier, and now the Pistons will try to get it 2 years in a row. The lowest we can go tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is number 7 overall. Anything above that, that would be gold, but Troy Weaver is at the helm, and that's why I'm feeling confident going into tonight.
Hey, dope. And you know what? What else do we have on our side tonight?
Oh, man,
I think
we got
have some stuff here.
Oh, we got some stuff. We got some good luck
Oh,
charms.
don't tease the people.
First of all, how
might
can
have
we
seen some
not?
things.
We got Lucky the Bear, man. We got the
Come on
cape. Man, Kool-Aid, this guy's a different animal when it
We
comes
got
to
it.
draft lottery stuff. And this guy is out here full wilding tonight.
I'm
He's-
ready.
You
I'm
got-
ready. Hey, look, no, this was the stuff from the first draft lottery show. We got Cade Cunningham. We had to have this stuff back
Yeah.
on. Lucky was a star attraction. We had the banner. It was sitting right there behind you. I feel like we might need to put it back there, Sean.
Yeah.
Hey, Detroit basketball, right?
Need it.
Woo!
Hey,
Ooh,
we got
Need it.
everything. We got
That's what's up,
everything
man.
here.
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank everyone that's here. We
And
already
the
have
water
over
bottle.
200 people watching live with us on the lottery stream. Shout out. We have Secho from Turkey tuning in. It's 2:30 in the morning joining us. Secho, thank you so much for tuning in. Everyone that's tuning in from home, this is a huge honor. We're really excited to be here. And this is a great night for the Pistons franchise. Now, Terry, you've been involved. You've seen some draft lotteries in your time. You've seen some things back then. In your time, or at least like what you've seen of Troy Weaver so far, what seems so different about him in comparison to Pistons front offices of the past?
Well, I think the main thing with Troy Weaver is he got aggressive. He came in here and said, okay, Stan Van Gundy messed everything up. So I could just, do a piece at a time and everything. He said, nah, I'm just going to shoot. I'm just going to switch it all up.
Grim
It's
Reaper.
not the team that I want to be the general manager of. So he did
Yeah.
things that no general manager in Detroit does. Because what does everybody say? Just be patient.
Absolutely.
One step at a time. We'll get mid-level free agents, and we'll draft responsibly. But he just said, "No, we're just gonna go crazy."
Absolutely.
Let's go crazy.
Well, hey, not to stop you, Terry, but we do have Koo Cahill on with us now. Koo, what's going on, man? Can you hear me?
Koo.
What's the deal? Can y'all hear me?
Oh,
can.
absolutely,
Yes, sir.
man. Koo, thank you so much for being on, brother. We appreciate you being here.
Hey, man, glad to have you on. Hey, how's the mojo feeling tonight, man, with the draft lottery? How you feeling, man? Where we landing tonight?
Number one. We going for number one.
Hey, let's go.
Hey!
Let's go.
Very nervous.
Let's go.
I need another coup reaction like last year. That's all I'm asking for.
Yes, sir.
That looked that was personal. That was personal what I saw in that video.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, you
think
got-
everybody's looking forward to that.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Absolutely. Koo, thank you so much for being here, man. First, I would be remiss if I didn't ask, man, how are you and Sada Baby doing, man? What was going on there, bro? Are you guys doing good? Is everything okay? What's happening there?
baby, bro. Why you say all weird?
Yeah.
It's Sada Baby. Hey,
Sada
hey.
Baby.
Hey, listen, man. I'm not pretending to be hip or anything here. I'm young, but I'm old as hell in spirit. But anyway,
kidding.
yeah, go ahead, Koo. My
Say
bad.
that, baby. What the
I mean, he actually tweeted about me the other day. I'm not gonna say what he said about me, but basically we cool now though. We cool. I actually
You guys
I
are
actually
cool
said
now?
something About, yeah, I actually said something to him about coming on the podcast, and he retweeted it, so I might get him on the podcast one day.
That'd be a full circle moment, man. We would absolutely love that. Koo, as you're sitting here and waiting for the draft lottery to begin, what prospects are catching your eye right now? Obviously, I know there's kind of some of those consensus guys, Jabari, Chet, Paulo Banchero. What guys are you looking at for the Pistons specifically? And if you were Troy Weaver, who would you want them to bring home on the NBA draft night?
So actually, for my podcast, I've went through like a deep dive with 3 different prospects so far. So I haven't done a deep dive into the whole class or anything so far, but through the guys that I've looked at thus far, for me, Paulo's at the top of my board. I really like Paulo. I think he would do really, really good things next to Cade. Kind of take some of that offensive pressure off of him. Just kind of self-create for himself, but also, create for some of his teammates. He has some underrated passing that could really be unlocked at the next level. So Paulo Banchero is at the top of my list right now, but also Chet's really interesting. He just really scares me with his weight. I get told by a lot of people that I shouldn't be worried about his weight, but I can't stop worrying about it. So, but outside, Paulo's at the top of my board.
Hey, dope. And listen, man, based on what you saw the Pistons do this year, man, what are you hoping that they address in this draft? I know that we're hoping they get the first overall pick, but Troy Weaver is super aggressive, as we already covered. What are you hoping they do, man? What needs need to be addressed?
Well, it's not any specific needs for me that he needs to address, because I feel like whichever way he goes, he's gonna go the opposite way in free agency. So I think that's what you'll basically get like answers to. I think you might even get answers to that tonight in the lottery. I think if they land in the top 3, I think it's gonna be pretty for sure that they get either Chet, Jabari, or Paulo. And if they do that, they're probably gonna go for a guard in free agency or something like that. If they fall out the top 3, they'll probably go for a guard or maybe a wing, and they'll probably look for a big in free agency. So it doesn't really, it more so matters about where they land. I'm not really looking for anything specific, because I know like wherever they get in the draft, they're going to target in free agency, especially with the possible, all of a sudden more availability of DeAndre Ayton in free agency. I think that makes it a little bit more interesting too.
And real quickly, Koo, just to get back on this draft talk, and I kind of know the answer already, but with Cade Cunningham and the player he is, we understand what gets thrown around a lot is he's kind of sped up this rebuild. How differently should Troy Weaver kind of look at this prospect pool and now know that you have a guy like Cade Cunningham? Does that kind of approach into the draft change on who you're going to select or what kind of player you're going to select, or is it still, listen, go out and get the best player?
They'll go out and get best player available, because the team still, even with K, they lack talent. You can say they lack outside shooting, but I feel like you can really look anywhere outside of K and say they lack this overall talent. They don't have much of it. Obviously, they need some outside shooting, but they also need some like interior presence.
Hey, Koo, can you talk a little louder for us too? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
can you talk a little louder? No, you're good. You're good.
My bad. But yeah, I don't think it really changed anything. They need to get best player available, because talent is what they need on this team, not really just a specific skill set or anything. They just need the best talent. And then in a few years from now, if they gather a bunch of talent, whatever, and they don't fit, then you can figure out who needs to go, who you want the assets for, et cetera, et cetera. But you'd rather have a lot of talent rather than looking for fit right now, especially this early in a rebuild. I know Kate sped it up, but I don't think that changes how you should be drafting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And listen, I can't let you go without asking you this. Jeremy Grant.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Jeremy's gone. I still think.
Book it!
I think Portland. yeah. I think Portland is still like the #1 team that will be going after him. I think it's still likely he ends up there, depending where this pick ends up as well. Their own pick. I know they were going to think about trading that Pelicans pick, but it didn't convey. But yeah, I think he'll end up being traded. I think this lottery again tonight, this will answer some questions too. Because again, if they land at the top 3, they're probably going to draft a guy at his position, and it'll be even more of a sign that he's going to be out of there. Even if they fall out of the top 3, I really do see Jeremy probably going somewhere else. He's going to get some assets in this offseason. And I think, again, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, I think with the all of a sudden availability, well, at least more availability than I thought he would actually be, of DeAndre Ayton, I think you could possibly see Jeremy in a trade like that, a sign trade with the Suns for DeAndre Ayton too. So I don't think Jeremy lasts past the
that's a
offseason.
good wrinkle. That's a good wrinkle. Cool. That I never thought about that, man. Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton signing trade. That could be good. Hey, listen, cool. I know that you got a lot planned for the night. Host of Locked On Pistons. I want to say personally, thank you for giving us the time.
Yeah, appreciate
I know that
it,
you were
brother.
short on it, man, but we appreciate what you do. We appreciate what you contribute to Pistons Twitter as well. Gentlemen, anything else? Lexi, anything else for Cool? Any questions you guys want us to ask him?
Not right now. No,
Think we should
pretty
be
much
good.
covered
You
all
better
the
bring the
great
energy
stuff.
tonight. Koo better bring the energy.
Yeah, cool. We're
Hey,
excited
bring
to see
that
your
energy,
reactions, man.
Energy.
Hey man, I'm ready, bro. I just got back from a hoop session. I didn't play very well in the hoop session, so now I gotta let my energy out in this lottery. So I'm ready.
Let's go.
Hey, definitely. Hey, in the hoop sessions, Woodward Pistons, bro.
Oh, we're
you
getting
on
it.
Team Woodward Pistons, right? You going out there with us a hoop?
Dude, thank you. Put the camera on me real quick. Let me say this real quick.
All right, say it.
Whatever team I'm on, if I ever show up to one of these, whatever team I'm on, we're winning. It's simple as that. So
Hey, let's get
Nah,
it.
you got. We got a division.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Hey,
Sounds
cool.
good, man.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, man, from the Woodward Pistons team, man. Hey, have fun with Locked On Pistons tonight. Hey, as we move on, season recap, season review. I also want to welcome Downtown Deuce. He just walked in.
My guy.
Hey.
Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Welcome.
Hey, how are you guys feeling, man? I asked Cool the same question. Based on what you guys saw this season, what are you hoping that the Pistons address?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, when you're a team that loses 50-plus games, you need to get talent at almost each and every single position, right? However, the Pistons really need to address their holes in the paint, and they need to get better defensively. When I'm looking at the top of this draft, I'm looking at guys, and I see 3 potential prospects that are all long, versatile, can guard multiple positions, put the ball on the floor. I mean, Terry, you've been watching basketball for years. You know that some of these point guards, their best friend is a big man that can help them in the pick and roll. So when I'm looking at Cade Cunningham, how could we extend his game, expand the horizons, and make his job easier? Get someone that can help him in the pick and roll, but also take lead on the defensive end and help us that way too.
Yeah, my answer is pretty simple. It's talent. I mean, Troy Weaver talked about it in the presser. He said we need talent both offensively and defensively. I think that's kind of the motive going into this lottery and draft.
Right.
They need to address a lot of things. I mean, Sean just hit on it. You lose 50-plus games. A lot of things need to be addressed. I think, and Kuhn kind of nailed on it and hit it perfectly, and I've always said this, you take the best player available. I mean, you have Cade Cunningham, and he's special, and he can play with pretty much anybody in this draft, top 7, top 10, does not matter. So I'm not too worried about it, but if I have to say what they need to address, go and get players. Go and get guys.
Just talent.
Talent.
Anybody.
Bottom line.
Anybody? Is there anybody specific?
I
there anybody specific?
I could start this kind of conversation
Oh,
right now.
absolutely. We already know, man. I know how ready you are for this. Go
Listen,
ahead.
my guy, Jabari Smith Jr. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah.
This is a guy who was on the best team in college basketball for a
Yes.
majority of the year, and he can space the floor. He brings all those tools you look for. Troy Weaver, what does he love? Versatility. Jabari Smith,
get it, man.
versatile. I mean, he can guard multiple positions. Yeah, you have question marks, but so does all of these guys in the top
Right.
in the lottery. So I'm not too concerned. He's been, to me, listen, if you're on Auburn, a team that, listen, if you look at the roster top to bottom, he was the best player on a team that was the best in college basketball. That's impressive to me. I mean, Gonzaga and Duke, don't get me wrong, way more talent around him, and he stood out. I mean, he was the man on his team, and you're not going to have any question marks about his mentality, about his approach. And one thing, I mean, look where the NBA is going. You need you got to be able to jump shoot. I mean, look at the NBA in the playoffs right now. Got to be able to hit jumpers at a high level, and you got to be able to defend and switch multiple positions. He checks both those boxes. Give me Jabari Smith Jr.
I thought I was going to be fighting
Jeff knows
Jazzy
ball.
Jeff tonight, but that's the guy I hope the Pistons get.
Jabari Smith.
Same.
Jabari. I am not a Chet Holmgren fan yet. Let me tell you something that really annoys me. People say he's an elite shot blocker. No, he's not. He is with boys.
Mm-hmm.
He can, but in the NBA, if a guy is weighing 50, 60 pounds more, he's gonna bend Chet Holmgren over. He won't be 7'1". He'll play at 6'9" in the post.
Right.
He might get some blocks, help, weak side blocks and that, but he's too damn skinny. But I have to be patient. I have to understand. They'll add some meat to him. They'll take him to Burger King 3-4 times a week, and they'll put him in the weight room. So eventually he will have an NBA body, but he doesn't have that now.
And just to add to that real quick, will his body last 82 games and a postseason? I mean, that's kind of the question marks I want to bring up as well, because it's a fair point Terry's bringing up. Like, you have to look at it. I mean, he's expected to play 82 games and be physical every night. I mean, yes, the NBA isn't as physical as it used to be, but the postseason certainly is. So, I mean, those are good questions.
Absolutely, for sure. A great person to ask some of these questions is Detroit news writer Rod Beard, who is on with us right now. Rod, what's going on, man? Can you hear me?
Wait.
Hold on. No, not yet. Not
No,
yet, Rod.
listen.
Oh, hold on.
If you guys aren't familiar, we are on a podcast together called the Woodward Pistons Podcast. Let me get back in character. Okay. I know we're in draft lottery mode, but we got to get in Woodward Pistons Podcast mode.
Rod, I got the drum roll ready.
Let's do it. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
No,
I know you
like
do.
this.
Okay.
All right.
Do it.
Let me say, Rod is
Hey, welcoming to the show, the legend. Detroit News, Rod Beard. Let's get it. Hey!
We're not worthy, Rod. Thank you so much for being here, man. You're the dude. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
sir.
You know what? I will defer in the presence of Terry Foster. I will give him his due. He is the legend.
Yes, sir.
Terry is a legend, man. Absolutely.
He is.
Rod is so laid back. Does he let you be silly on the show?
Who? Rod?
Rod, because Rod is, he's.
Rod lets us run free.
Hey, yeah, he does. Actually, Rod talks about me, man.
Okay.
He talks about me a lot on there.
Because he's like the police, right? And you gotta watch what you're doing around the police.
Terry, I am not the fan. I am absolutely letting the young guys do what they need to do. They are the stars of the show. I just fill in where I need to.
I love that. I'm not the feds.
Definitely appreciate that. Definitely do. And you know what? You had a tweet today, man, that kind of went off. Went off in Pistons Twitter world, off in NBA world. And I think you know what it's about, man. DeAndre Ayton, and he's been saying this on the podcast for several months now. Several months, that he wouldn't be surprised if Phoenix fizzled out early, if the Pistons slid a blank check over to DeAndre Ayton and made them blink. And today you sent off that tweet about BetOnline AG, stating that if he doesn't return to the Phoenix Suns, if DeAndre Ayton does not go back home, that the Pistons are the team with the best odds to land DeAndre Ayton. How you guys feeling about that, Rod? You got to speak to this, man, because it's coming to fruition.
Vegas always knows this stuff, and I won't even look at the numbers, but everything's lining up where the Pistons could be that team. Look at that 1-to-1 odds. It's just even money.
Goodness gracious.
Wow. If he does, and it's a big if he doesn't go back to Phoenix, and they very well could say, hey, we want to run this back and see if we can do it again. But he played 17 minutes in that game 7, and when Monty Williams was asked about it, he said it was because there were some internal issues. Hey man, internal issues during contract time, that ain't cool. That ain't cool. So yeah, unless Robert Sarver is going to clear some of that up and say, you know what, we're going to make this work, I would be really interested in seeing where Ayton ends up next year.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Rod, it's really good to see you. First of all, thank you so much again for being on. I do want to start, and I want to talk about a certain prospect that I've been hearing some rumblings now that you're not a big Chet Holmgren fan. And now, Rod, I respect your opinion. I look to you for guidance when it comes to the game of basketball. So I want to ask you, what do you see with Chet Holmgren, and what concerns you about his ability to come into the NBA and impact the game?
Tell him, Rod.
I will keep it short for you. Everything that Terry just said is exactly it.
Everything Terry just said.
What Terry said, yeah.
That's why Terry's a legend.
What Terry said. That's it.
Yes, sir.
But do you think you could almost see Chet Holmgren being someone that could be on the court, someone that can almost be like a roamer on the defensive end, help with protecting the paint, and then also can switch on guards on the perimeter as well? Is that not something that could bring a lot of value with Chet Holmgren in the league?
Sure. It is I mean, in the same breath where I could be a roamer on the perimeter and I could be a guy in the post, maybe anything's possible. I mean, I just don't see him being this impact guy. And this is a draft that may not have the superstar immediate talent that comes in and has a franchise-changing guy. But I just see so many red flags with Chet that if I have the number one pick,
Oh, Rod, I think you're muted. We lost your audio, I think.
Might have lost Rod.
Yeah.
But what Rod was going to say, and I know he was going to say after that whole Chet comment, is why Jabari Smith is Rod's guy. He's echoed him. I got Terry Foster, and I got Rod Beard with my agreement. So
yes.
Listen, but less about the prospects, more about just the mentality approaching today. I think I was going to ask Rod too, just the mentality. I know we all feel the same, and I want to get other people's opinions as well.
Yeah.
Just coming into this draft, is everybody concerned as much? Because I'm not. So I tweeted today. I listed the top 7 prospects, and I'm not too concerned. So Rod, we have Rod back. So I kind of want to ask Rod this question as well. Rod, are you there?
yeah.
Okay, Rod, I wanted to ask you, the temperature in the room today when I came in, and I tweeted out this morning, just about, I feel comfortable knowing that Troy Weaver's making these selections, whether you're at 1, whether you're at 4 or 5, it does not matter to me. How do you feel coming in today? Is it kind of the same boat? Yes, I'd like to have a top 3 pick, but listen, if we slide to 7, listen, you're going to hear it, but does having a guy like Troy Weaver make everything that much okay?
Yeah, I think in Troy Weaver's case, he's done the preparation for any team that has, the same way we do our mock drafts and our fantasy football drafts, we go through all of the iterations of which team has the first pick, and you go through a situation where you've got the 4th pick, the 10th pick, the 9th pick, and who's available there. And I think that's what Troy Weaver's doing, is looking at what teams are going to be ahead of him, if there will be one. Maybe they end up being one, you never know. But all of these different possibilities of who he could pick or what other teams might pick if they're in front of him.
That's a great mindset. I mean, I agree with him.
That is.
Yeah.
That is. And Rod, just one more thing. I'm asking everybody tonight. It's the Jeremy Grant conundrum. What are we doing? What are we doing with him?
Tell me where we're picking, and then I'll tell you.
All right.
If they're picking 1, 2, or 3, and they can get one of these guys, well, probably 1 or 2, because I'm not a Chet guy. But if you tell me that they get Jabari Smith or they get Paolo, then I think you can at least listen to offers for Jeremy.
Hey, and what are those things? Beyond just Portland, are there any other teams to think about? I know Cool brought up something interesting as it relates to potentially a sign and trade between Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton. Is there anything else out there that we should be looking at as it relates to Jeremy Grant?
I would say there's other stuff to look for. But again, this is the Troy Weaver element in this, is that he knows stuff that we don't. He's got little lines in the water that we don't know about, and there's a surprise player somewhere that is going to just spring up, and we're not going to say, hey, this is something that we thought was even possible. We've seen this in each of the past 2 off seasons, and I think we see it again this year too.
Man, that's exciting.
Yeah,
that's exciting. It honestly, it lends right to what we were talking about, how aggressive Troy Weaver is, how aggressive he's going to be, and how unpredictable. How often do you hear us attached to a trade or to a player or to a prospect, and that's what it is? That's what we wind up picking, or that's what we actually go after. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
right.
But
exactly.
Here's the other thing, Brandon. You don't see that in any other Detroit pro sport either. The Lions don't do it, the Tigers don't do it, and the Red Wings don't do it. You haven't had a GM like Troy Weaver that's made these kinds of moves that have changed things so quickly. We haven't seen that in this city for
a matter of a few years.
And speaking of changing things,
maybe.
Speaking of changing things quickly, I wanted to ask, and it's a random question, but it's something that I personally wanted to know. Let's say they do land top 3. And obviously, if you take Chet, that's a different conversation. But do you think Apollo Banchero or Jabari Smith, does that maybe speed up the decision to trade Jeremy Grant? Or let's say maybe they do take a Chet. Or does that maybe mean that there's a possibility Jeremy Grant could remain in Detroit? Or is it just bottom line, he's gone, he's out of town, book him?
Jeff over here got a lot of Pistons fans shuddering.
No, I think it sort of depends. I think you can wait until after the lottery and get into free agency and see what's there. I think there's, again, a couple of different iterations of what Troy Weaver and his staff have worked out. Some of them can include Jeremy Grant, and other ones can include, hey, if another team is willing to pay the piper on this, then they're willing to part with Jeremy Grant given the right price. But again, there is no need. They don't have to. It's not like Jeremy Grant is some cancer and he has to go.
Right.
There are possibilities of him being there and being part of this rebuild. And there's possibilities where he can go and they're getting a very handsome return in future compensation and draft picks, in other players, anything else.
Yeah, with Jeremy Grant, is what I call the perfect asset. I think that Troy Weaver knew exactly what he was doing when he signed him. He's a guy that we all said, why is he getting this money?
Yeah.
Then we were like, wow, he really, really outplayed it. Now he's somebody that if we keep him, we can see that he can be a great asset for the Pistons. If we trade him, we're going to get a good return, something that's going to help this team into the future, probably fit the rebuild window just a little bit better. I know that's something that Jeff has been talking about. As I continue to dive deep into these prospects and I look at what Jabari Smith is, when I look at the ceiling that he brings, when I look at the spacing that the NBA is going to provide for him.
Talk to me.
I know I've been preaching Jeremy Grant, but Jeff, I'm starting to see the light. I'm starting to see the light, man. I can see it, man. And you know what? He's the one prospect that if we draft him, and I'm along with Rod, if we draft him, I could say, you know what, safely, Jeremy Grant, I love you, but for the better of the Pistons, right? That's what this is all for.
Absolutely. And we're going to get a lot more clarity on that tonight. Rod, we're going to miss your work on the beat this year, but we're super excited to be able to work with you here at Woodward Pistons, the Woodward Pistons podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Rod,
here.
bright and early tomorrow.
We just appreciate your wisdom. Thank you so much for being here, Rod.
We're going to have some fun.
Guys, what do we got? About 5 minutes? 5-10 minutes, we'll figure out what the future looks like.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Rod, you take care. You have a great night, and thank you so much for joining us. Before we do get into the lottery, I did real quick want to shout out Woodward Pistons and From Half Court, what we're doing. We are part of Woodward Pistons, and Jeff and I run From Half Court. Be sure to tune in and subscribe to those channels as well for going forward with all the draft coverage and everything that's going to be happening. I do want to touch some people that we haven't been really able to talk to yet in the studio. We got Lexi. Lexi, how are you doing tonight? Thank you so much for being here.
I'm doing great.
Awesome.
Happy to be here.
Lexi, what's your gut telling you? How are you feeling right now? Where do you think the Pistons are going to be ending up here in the next few minutes?
So, this is like probably the first year where I've been comfortable, to be honest, maybe like the top 5, you know, and it's a good feeling having that, but do I want top 3? Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the main goal here. But it's just a comforting feeling knowing that Troy is making these decisions, and I'm ready. I believe in him. I'm so ready to build around Cade, and I'm just really excited to see where we land up.
That's the key right there.
Absolutely.
Since we have Cade, this is a celebration.
Yeah, man, this is freaking Mardi Gras.
That's what this is. You heard her how chill she's like, look, I'm just here taking it. I'm just like, bro, we have Cade already. Whoever we get is gonna fit right next to Cade, right on this team.
Absolutely,
bro. It's a celebration.
And this is why I'm glad Terry's sitting here, because I feel like this room we're ODing on hopium. I mean, we got a lot of hopium flowing through this room. Terry knows. I mean, see the look on his face. He knows the hopium.
Tell us, Terry.
So Terry, break it down for us, Terry. I mean, how are you feeling tonight? And again, like expectations. I mean, you don't have to. Obviously, we don't know where they're going to select, but what are you feeling? Whether they're 7, 5, or 1.
The number 1 pick this year. It'd be good to have, but you don't need it. If they get top 3, they'll be fine. Once again, I am a Jabari Smith guy. He can shoot. He's versatile. He can shoot. Block a couple shots here and there too. He can defend a little bit. So that's who I'm hoping for. Because when I looked at the NCAA tournament, the guys or the teams that were really doing it were the guys that had that 6'8", 6'9" guy. Got a little muscle on him, like I'm a man, and those are the ones that did it in the NCAA tournament. That doesn't mean you can do it in the NBA, but I feel more confident in a guy like that. He's coming in, he's already got an NBA body, he's got confidence.
Yep.
He thinks he's the best player in the draft. I like guys like that. I don't want him saying, well, I think I'm a top 15 pick or top 20 to fit in. Nah, he said he's the best player in the draft. I want that attitude.
Absolutely.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, with that, we got the NBA draft lottery starting right now as we are speaking.
What's going on, Easy?
What's up, Easy?
And we got Easy in the booth.
And we got my boy Easy, baby.
I just want to say I've been
Woodward Heavyweights.
back and forth. Yeah, shout out to Woodward Heavyweights, and thank you guys for having me on. But I'm back and forth who I wanted in this draft, and I've pinned it down. I talked to Jeff and Sean actually before the draft, and I feel like Jabari Parker is the Aiden Hutchinson. Jabari Smith. Sorry. Is the Aiden Hutchinson of this draft, where he's a safe pick. He's a for sure pro.
Yeah.
Chet, the unicorn, the Trayvon Walker, the guy that has high upside, but kind of nervous about what he might end up being.
Yep.
With that being said, though, Jabari Smith, not Jabari Parker. I apologize. Jabari Smith. I think I'm on board with you guys. You guys sold me.
If we're going with a PG, we're drafting the Gypsy Vodka. I mean, listen, my Gypsy Vodka is Jabari Smith. I mean, bottom line. So
that's how it goes.
That's how I'm feeling. I mean, who knows? If we get the number 1 pick, both these bottles might go home with me. So you know what I mean? We'll see.
Let me say this: if they end up with Chet Holmgren, I want all you guys to go out and scour Detroit air for steroids. Shoot his brother up.
I do want to say though, man, I do
feed
think
them steaks, man.
I
Coney
do-
dogs,
Yes.
loose conies. We'll take them to American. We'll get them fat.
I'm
Yeah.
ready
good.
for some food.
Listen,
Hey, the heavyweights got him on lock. We got you. You got to take care of him.
Yeah,
we got
you.
Hey.
we got to be brought in to consult on that, man. Like the heavyweights have got to be the number 1 guys for this
Yeah.
project if we ultimately draft Chet.
Definitely.
But I
Definitely.
will say though, man, I do got to say, just to be devil's advocate on Chet Holmgren a little bit, he really does have a lot of skills in his arsenal. He can
Right, he does.
He can do a lot on the offensive end. He's a better passer than people give him credit for. He can put the ball on the court. He can shoot from the 3. He can score at all 3 different levels. And on top of that,
go look at Giannis when he was young. The dude was
That's
look
true.
at Evan
thin.
Mobley
That
just a
is
year
true.
ago. Look
And
at
I
Rudy
know
Gobert. He's not the biggest center.
KD, another
Right.
thin guy,
Yeah.
and kind of different games, but like you never know what these guys are going to evolve into. He may be Sean Bradley the rest of his life too, and just be a stick figure. Who the hell knows?
I feel like it's a different build with Chet though. Like when you look at those guys, they got those wider set shoulders, like AD, KD, even like with Chet, it's just like just looking at him, he looks weird. You like just looking at the guy.
No, yeah. I mean,
But again, you just don't know what he's gonna be, man. He's a Trayvon Walker.
It's
really
like
is.
offensively,
There you
man. I believe that a lot of these guys, the NBA spacing is going to really, really do their game some good. But it's just defensively, and obviously we're sitting here talking about this frame. You don't think that the opponents and defenders are going to be talking the same stuff?
Right.
We know how the NBA is. Even though they've cleaned it up, people are still going to take their shots when they can. And I just don't want to have to think about that every single time he's going to the basket, every time he's jumping. I love what he can bring offensively. I love the ceiling.
Absolutely.
But I don't want to have to wince every time he's going into the paint.
Yeah.
But
I
the
did that a
NBA
little
is
bit
going to
with
progressively get softer, like it's going to get less defense, more offense. So the skinny guys are winning right now in the NBA.
I do.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and I do think
that.
one thing.
Heavyweights for life.
I do think that's one thing that's important to talk about real quick.
Fish is here.
We got a Fish in the studio,
is
ladies and
here.
gentlemen. Give it up for Fish. What's going on?
the one and
Come
only.
here, Fish.
Hey, there he is.
Yeah,
Say hi to everybody.
Fish, get in the booth.
What up, Fish?
Oh, he brought the tuck shirt.
Hey, everyone, say hi to Fish in
Look
the
at
chat.
Fish.
Hey, he came dressed for the occasion. I like that.
Yeah, man,
Fish.
he's all tuxed out, man.
I
Absolutely.
like that, man.
My night
fancy,
is
huh?
made.
So you like drafts now, huh, Fish?
Fish is here for me, I think.
It's the most Fish answer you could have got.
Yeah.
Sure.
I love it.
Absolutely. Now,
If we draft Chet, we could feed fish to him. And hope he's gained some weight.
now, guys.
Look at Stick. Not on my watch. Not on my watch.
Now, guys, I
Fish
do
is
want to
here. The
shift.
Cricket League has got their draft tonight also.
Oh, he'll be early.
So that's what he's actually
The
dressed for.
cricket lottery that's going on
lottery,
right
we don't-
after this stream.
Right.
Yeah, that's what he's
Right.
actually dressed for.
Yeah.
He'll,
Yeah,
he'll
that's
booger
right.
you early.
Yeah,
to
and we also
tune in.
got also Mr. Sean Corp in the building as well from Detroit
sir.
Bad Boys.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a packed house in here, man. Hey, definitely
Yeah,
give it
absolutely.
up.
Give it up to Sean
Definitely
Ford,
give
man.
it up.
Absolutely. What's going on? now,
Sorry, nobody gets the Fish response. Sorry, like it's tough to follow Fish.
It is. It does. It does. Now, guys, as we are getting into the lottery and as we're watching things unfold, I do want to kind of shift real quick to some of those prospects that are a little bit farther down the board, specifically a little bit towards that 4 through 7 spot, right? We talk about those top 3, Paolo Banchero, Jabari Smith Jr., we talk about Chet Holmgren, but there's a lot of good guys in this draft as well.
Yep.
Kool-Aid, Jeff, everyone in this room. What are some guys that you're looking at on these teams that are looking at in this draft that might fit really well in Detroit? I know Keegan Murray's one. I know Shaden Sharp's another. There's a lot of guys in this draft that can fit and come in and play really good basketball right away.
And before you go, Brandon, I just want to quickly say the player I'm most excited for, I think, and the player that probably has the most question marks is Shaden Sharp. I mean, this is a guy who didn't play one game at the collegiate level. Yes, he was on Kentucky's roster. Yes, he practiced with them, did not play a game. So I think he has the most questions, and all you really have right now are workout videos and high school film. But again, guys have came out of high school into the NBA, so it can happen. I think now with the selection of players he's around, yes, you might push him down a little bit, but don't sleep. I'm telling you right now,
Hey
that's
guys,
a guy.
so far in the chat, I put up a poll. 450 50 votes now.
Yeah.
Man.
33% think we're going to land between 3 and 4.
That's the safe bet, Stick. You know why? Because people don't want to get too high,
comfortable.
Yeah,
and they don't want to get too low.
Well, here's
That's
the other thing,
comfortable.
too.
Stay at 3
Those
or
are
4.
the
here's the
players
thing.
that we want, too. That
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You can't jinx it. You know what I mean? So the safe thing is to pick right in the middle, because if you're going to jinx it, you could just go, oh, we're going to the top. But, I mean, hey, we got some people confident here. I respect
And
it.
to the asshole 8% who picked 5 to 7, I don't
Get
want
out
you
of here
near
with
me.
that mojo. Get out of here with that mojo.
Yeah,
man.
we're
We
going
don't
to hit
need
you
that.
with the Guardian alarm and say, stay out!
Man, get out of here.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, those people pour the milk before the cereal. I already know how those people roll. Yeah, I already know how those people roll.
Oh,
think
man,
for
you
the
telling me
sake
that
of the
those people like to shoot
sake
on
of the
double rims?
Studio, they should get the 5 to 7 pick.
Hey.
So y'all don't riot again.
Terry's right on that. Is he wrong?
We will riot. Are we going to riot?
Will you riot
we gonna
for
riot.
the third pick?
Just for the culture, right?
Oh, yeah, for the culture.
He said, "Would you ride for the third pick?" I think that's. I think I'd be
not.
excited. I'd be ecstatic, but I think the only pick you'd ride for is that number 1.
I think if you get like the third, it's like a,
Yep.
yeah, that's pretty
excited.
good. We'll take it. We'll take it. Like it's like if your son goes and gets like a slide tackle in soccer or something. But in all seriousness, guys, as we are getting closer and closer, how about some of those guys? What do you think Keegan Murray can be going into this league? I know. I was talking to Neil Rule earlier on Big D Energy, and he's a little hesitant of drafting guys from Iowa, from Purdue, from some of those Big Ten schools. Terry, do you think having someone be from Iowa or Purdue or some of those schools is something to be afraid of with some of these prospects? Do you
No,
tend to fall
but
in
the
that camp?
specific player that you're talking about, I think of one word: soft.
Keegan Murray.
So that, yes, I don't think he's that tough. Mm-hmm. Now he's got some talent; he can do some things, but I think you can get him off his game, particularly in the NBA. So I'm a little bit leery of him, but
Yeah.
he's fine.
And that's a valid point. I mean,
Yeah.
with Keegan Murray, too, I know we had James Edwards on the podcast, and he talked about it. Just making the comparison. I mean, if you have Keegan Murray and he's a serviceable, starter, let's say you do fall to 7 and you take Keegan Murray, if he's a serviceable starter for, 12 to 15 years, I think everyone will take that. So it just depends. In terms of ceiling, yes, there's other better prospects, but like Terry, I kind of echo everything Terry just said. I wouldn't pick him over the other guys that we could probably go through and name, but I think he's somebody that you have to take a look at. And if Troy Weaver, if that's the pick, then you bet him on board. I mean, that's the reality of it.
Mm-hmm. Hey, listen, this is a player that I think we've touched on. We haven't really talked about this player as much as we should have, and that's Jalen Duren. I've seen the comments on all of our podcasts. This is a guy that they're saying, hey, why isn't anybody really talking about him? And when I really, really, really went in to dig in to see what this player was, I wanted to get you guys' opinions on him as well. I like him. He's high motor, high energy. I believe if the Pistons drop, it's definitely somebody to look at. Yeah. I have some questions about his post ability, but with a Cade Cunningham, that's the type of player that helps to minimize a lot of these players' weaknesses, and we'll definitely get into that a little bit later. Yeah. But I wanted to go around the room, get everybody's opinions on Jalen Duren. If the Pistons fell to 7, how would you feel about that pick?
I'm going to be honest with you. And I know I put out a ranking and I had Jalen Duren on there, but a part of me would rather have Benedict Mathurin, just a part of me. I think he's a more exciting prospect. And again, you're getting a guy who can immediately go in the backcourt with Cade Cunningham. Jalen Duren, though, I mean, he does fit a lot of the needs in terms of having a big who can block shots. I mean, he's going to make everybody better on the defensive side of the ball. You can flush everybody straight to Jalen Duren. Obviously, offensively, there's things he can work on. But again, I hate saying that because all of these guys have things they can work on. So I wouldn't be mad. I like Jalen Duren as a prospect, but again, if we're talking, if I'm Troy Weaver and I'm making the selection, there's probably I like Ben Mathurin. I mean, that's somebody that I'm still high on.
Yep. Hey, you know what? And I did a lot of film on him too, but I just want to get everybody else's kind of opinion. Sean.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Jalen Duren is a really solid big, but I do kind of want to take something and say I don't want us to quit on Isaiah Stewart too quickly either. I think there's a lot about his game that we're easy to dismiss just because we look at him as undersized or relatively weak with protecting the rim. But I do think that we saw as the season went on, I thought we saw a lot of improvements in Isaiah Stewart specifically. He always has a motor each and every night. You're never going to question if he's bringing the intensity. He's giving 110% each and every time, but also his switchability on the defensive end, in my opinion, but also I think his offense, if we can continue to see improvements in his paint scoring, but also he was starting to hit some threes down the stretch of the season. I'm not sure if that's something we can actually count on consistently with Isaiah Stewart. However, he's certainly someone that can definitely be in our long-term plans and someone that I don't know if we should be dismissing as quickly as we are. In my opinion. Now, I'm not saying that a guy like potentially a DeAndre Ayton or if we were to get a Mitchell Robinson or even a guy like Jalen Duren, that couldn't upgrade or even help us,
Right.
and that Isaiah Stewart could come off the bench or play a different role. But again, you have to look at who we have right now. We have to look at what we have in house, and there's value in what Isaiah Stewart brings.
Yeah,
Homer.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. I'm a little biased. I see. I'm not saying that I think Isaiah Stewart's going to be this All NBA center, but what I'm saying is that I don't think you have someone on your team. I don't think he's a scrub either.
I feel you.
Yeah, Terry, I want to know your opinion on Isaiah Stewart.
Well, if the goal is to win a championship,
Right.
he will have a role, but he's not going to be one of your top 3 players.
Right.
I view him as your 4th or 5th guy, or even coming off the bench.
Right.
Energy only gets you so far. But fellas, we got to start thinking defense a little bit.
Yep.
Look at the bad boy Pistons. Dennis Rodman, 2004. Ben Wallace.
Yep.
They're 2 critical players on championship teams for the Pistons who couldn't put the ball in the hoop if you put them 2 feet from the basket. They had no offensive game.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about a shot blocker or somebody that's going to be a dog on defense, I wouldn't be opposed to that either. I wouldn't take him in the top 3, but if you're going to slip to 6 or 7, go for it.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
To Terry's point.
Look how smart it is. My mic on, Easy. Turn my mic on, Easy. Damn it, Easy. Turn my mic on.
Come on, man.
You're never going to turn your camera back on.
Turn the mic on because he finally has something smart to say. So
Fish, will you go show Easy how to turn a damn mic on?
It's on.
It wasn't when I first started talking.
You were sniffling and stuff. I had to mute you, man.
Sniffling and stuff. Get the hell out of here.
Get your popcorn.
Just listen to yourself breathing heavy over there in that booth. Yeah, see?
Hey, WSN2.
No,
ASMR.
but what the hell I was going to say
what's up,
is you look at like a Smart and how he's affected it. He's not necessarily a big, but look what he did to Giannis in that series. He was able to D up with him, and those are the types of guys Terry's talking about, like game changers.
Right.
Not only a Dennis Rodman type. If we're picking like 7, 8, I'd even be happy with like a Lindsey Hunter type who was able to get in the game and affect the game.
Lindsey
Man,
Hunter,
like
like
just-
James, boy.
It's all part of a chechampionship thing, and if I may say so too, for
look, Easy's mic's on when he talks.
I like that now. All right. Anyway, but honestly, with Isaiah Stewart, remember how thirsty we were for a big man at trade deadline?
Yeah.
He's not the answer at 5.
Yeah.
This is not.
Yep.
Remember how thirsty we were for a big man at the trade deadline?
And I'm gonna.
He's just not the answer.
And I'm gonna be a realist right now because we're in the East, and who else is in the East? I mean, you have Joel Embiid and you have Giannis Antetokounmpo, two guys that are going to make you pay if you don't have rim protection. So it's a real thing. So Pistons have to address it. They need obviously size.
But that's true, but it's not true because the Celtics just beat them without a good big.
But
Alford.
Lots of length.
Yeah.
I mean, you can substitute it for lots of length.
their
They have
defense is
guys,
unreal.
multiple guys that are 6'8", 6'9", whatever.
There's
it
a
is.
ton of dudes they could throw at them.
Yes.
They also
to the point. Yes, you need guys that can throw at them.
Yeah, they also have one of the best defensive schemes in the league too. Just everything
They do.
that
And
Ime
guys that just
Udoka's
play
bringing.
hard.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously that Eastern Conference Final is going to be starting after this. But
And on Beef Stew, I believe that his best fit for us, if we want to be a team that's serious, it has to be off the bench. It's not about giving up on them, but it's about putting guys in their best possible position to succeed.
Right.
And for guys like Beef Stew, for guys like Killian Hayes, hey, is he still in Detroit? Is he still in Killian Hayes, right? We put the alarm on, right? He's still here, right?
Yeah, he's here.
he's working at White Castle.
Hey, dope.
Still here.
Yep, and like Rod said, we need to get him out there to play play the 5-on-5, man, the street ball and everything.
Oh, absolutely. We
Definitely.
gotta get him Americanized.
Yeah,
now.
hey, you know what? We got Sean Corp, Detroit Bad Boys. We got him on the mic right now. What's good, sir?
Hey, thanks for having me. I want to talk about defense because I hear all this Chet slander.
Thank you. You know what? This is why we have Sean Corp here. Sean's
go.
the ones that understand
We're
what
talking
I'm
about
saying here.
A guy who's doubted every level, and then he dominates. He dominated college. He had 4.9 blocks per 36. He can shoot the 3. And think about the defensive potential of Chet and Isaiah Stewart on the floor together. Think about Chet spacing the floor. Think about the help side defense blocking he could deliver, and Isaiah Stewart and Chet as 2 switchable bigs that can run all over the floor, long arms, huge arm span, really available to improve the defense. Isaiah Stewart was one of the most switchable players in the NBA. He switched onto the perimeter more than almost any other big man. That's obviously what the Pistons want to do with their team defense.
Yep.
Chet, he's small. He just makes it work. So I see him as somebody that the Pistons would be very interested in.
And Sean makes a great point because Chet's offensive ability is going to, help Isaiah's lack thereof. I mean, you don't have to worry about it because Chet's going to bring everything. He's obviously he can space the floor. You'd like Isaiah to kind of work on those things offensively because I think along with the defensive upside, he could be a hell of a player. Yeah. And like you said, you can switch multiple positions. We talk about it on the pod all the time. I mean, with Rod, throughout late in the season, you saw him on the perimeter, man. Like he's guarding point guards and two guards confidently, and he's staying with them. So he's going to be a valuable piece, Isaiah Stewart, for years to come.
Huge. That was huge in the development of Isaiah Stewart, being able to defend the guards, being able to defend better on the perimeter. I saw that stat or that graphic that went up about the bigs that switched out on the guards, and he was top 5?
Yep.
Top 5. Like that's an amazing part of his development. And what he reminds me of in terms of impact, I know that you mentioned Lindsey Hunter. I mentioned a little bit of Mike James. Hey, we need that Corliss Williamson.
Yeah.
That 04 team does not win without Corliss Williamson. And when I look at Beef Stew, I look at somebody who's just going to come in and do work. Somebody who's going to come in and go to work. That's what I want. And then we can have Bagley. We can have another big. We can have other players that I believe can fit a little bit better size-wise, a little bit better defensively. And I think the most key thing, we need rebounding. We need rebound. We need guys that are going to go up and snatch the ball down, and we haven't really had that.
Hey, there's Rick.
Hey, Richard Hamilton, baby.
Let's go.
Representing the Detroit Pistons at the NBA Draft Lottery, baby.
And our guy, Bryce.
Hey, but no mask, though. No mask, though. Hey,
He
Bryce.
has it next to him.
Bryce.
He's got the mask with him.
What's going on, man? Thank you so much for being here, man. Bryce from Motor City Hoops, the Pistons Pulse podcast. We got our guy here, Bryce. Thank you so much for being here, man. How you feeling
we
tonight?
got to be on our best behavior, guys.
Oh, we do. We got a button up now.
Posture.
In the classroom.
Posture. Jeff. There you go.
Yeah, I got both buttons up right now. I got both buttons up. I'm not messing around.
How you doing, Bryce? Motor City Hoops in the building, the Pistons Pulse, man. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. Just waiting to see how these results shake out and where our Pistons are going to draft.
Absolutely.
And real quick before we, now that we get into it, I follow you on Twitter. I kind of know who your guy is, but now that we got you live on the draft show, tell us about kind of who your number one prospect is. And because listen, you watched the game, you studied the game. Obviously, you're a coach, so we value your opinion. And tell me, who's your number one guy, and why is he your number one guy?
Yeah, Paulo Banchero, and I think Sean can attest. I think I may have swayed him a little bit. I heard him talking up Chet Holmgren, but I think he swayed a little bit towards Paulo. The all-around game, guys, with Paulo Banchero. The offensive game is impressive. If the three-point shooting is even NBA
Bryce, I do want to stop you. Bryce, I'm so sorry. The NBA lottery is starting right now. So
yeah, the Cavaliers at 14, the Hornets at 13, Oklahoma City at 12.
They got the Clippers pick. They got the Clippers pick at 12. So
the Knicks at 11.
All right. The Knicks will be at 11.
Knicks at 11.
The other pick of note is Portland's pick, right? If they get it?
Absolutely. The pick is all right. The
Wizards
Washington Wizards, they're going to be at 10. That's fine.
Let's go.
So far,
all good, right? This is all status quo?
Yep. So far, so good. Yep. So far, so good. All right. The San Antonio Spurs will be drafting at 9. Okay.
All right. Now it starts to get stressful.
Okay,
here we go.
All right. Number 8 pick. Number 8 pick. Here we go.
After this is where
New Orleans Pelicans. New Orleans Pelicans from the Lakers. They will be at number 8.
Detroit Shock Legend.
All right,
here we go,
so number 7. This is the first time that the Detroit Pistons can actually be available to be on the board with the number 7 overall pick, which will be selected. There we go. We need that. Portland got the 7th. Okay, there we go.
Jeremy Grant.
All right, Dame looks a little upset. I don't really care. Number 6 pick. This could be us as well, but let's hope
Chauncey
Billups. The NBA. Here we go. The Detroit Pistons, ladies and gentlemen, our top 5.
It's becoming
we
more
have
and more
secured
reality.
that right now.
Come on.
Rick Carlisle, shut up. Get away from my screen. With that. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, it was just revealed. The Detroit Pistons will be selecting 5th overall in the 2022 NBA draft. It is the 5th overall pick for Detroit.
We trust
And let me
celebration.
Listen, celebration because
Let's get it.
Celebration because we didn't fall to 7. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys.
You know what? Yeah.
I think what Bryce did say, and I agree with him 100%. You got to trust Troy. I think 5 isn't the worst. There's 5 guys that I think I can say I like in this draft. The part that makes me upset. Probably won't be able to get Jabari Smith, my guy. But you know what? We'll move on. Because, Bryce, now that we have you on, initial reaction to having number 5.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like all the work we all put into Chet, Jabari, and Paolo just went out the window.
I feel you.
Absolutely.
Oh,
but
man.
now, another thing, too, interesting to note with having the 5th overall pick, now we can ask Jeremy Grant is now in a position where his situation in Detroit, his position in Detroit, feels a little more secure to me. I mean, you could still make the argument you could go get a guy like Keegan Murray, possibly a number 5. You could still get guys that can come in and play that position. But Bryce, what's your gut reaction with what happens now with Detroit going forward with our guy Jabari, or with Jeremy? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think it makes it more likely he stays around. I think even if you draft Keegan Murray, he may be a guy you bring off the bench for a year. I want to, for fans that are disappointed right now, Jaden Ivey could still be in play at 5 if you're an Ivy guy. Shaedon Sharp's still in play at 5. Benedict Mathurin, who's a guy I really, really like, is in play at 5. Like, there's still some really good players in this draft at 5.
Yeah,
right.
I know it's not the top 3, but there's some good players.
And now that we got you, and I want to ask you something about Shaedon Sharp, because you brought him up, and that's a prospect that I would say in this draft I'm the most excited for, but I think has probably the most question marks out of any of these guys because you didn't get to watch him play last year. What are your thoughts on Shaedon Sharp? And if he is that selection at 5, what are you feeling?
Yeah, so he's a guy that's hard to get film on, right? So I can't speak as confidently about him, but just the athleticism, he has a natural shooting guard body type and archetype. I think he fits really well next to Cade, depending on how the defense. One thing fans would have to do is temper year 1 expectations with Shaedon Sharp. He's not going to come in and light the world on fire as a rookie.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and I think, Bryce, to your point, this is still a great night for the Detroit Pistons because we still get a top 5 overall draft pick, which still has a ton of value and could really help us going into next year.
That's a ton of value. I mean, we look at that Portland pick. We have Troy Weaver. That's where it starts. We have Cade Cunningham. That's where it ends.
Yep.
Everything else in between is about stacking as much talent as we can get. Is what we've been saying all along, and that's why this is a celebration. Did we want to get greedy? Of course we did. And guess what? We got Troy Weaver. We can still get greedy.
Yeah.
We have assets.
Do people not remember what we did the last time we were drafting lower in the order? Even though Killian Hayes was the pick at 7, which the jury's still out on what he's going to be in the NBA, let's not forget, we were able to find value with Sadiq Bey towards the bottom of top 20 in the draft order, and then Isaiah Stewart as well at 16. So I do want to say to everyone right now that's feeling depressed and saying, dang, man, like the NBA stinks, this is a bummer. This is still a really good night for the Detroit Pistons because this means we're still going to go get someone that's towards the top of this draft order. If guys like Jaden Ivey and Shaedon Sharp are at play at the number 5 overall pick, they are not consolation prizes.
Now, Lexi, you've been a Keegan Murray type of person. You said if we drop, you said you want your boy Keegan. Do you still feel that way?
I do, and I know that, like what Terry said about, that he can seem like he's a little bit soft. I just think he's like one of those silent, hardworking guys. He does what he needs to do. He doesn't need to talk. He doesn't need to, get emotional. He just does the work, and I think that would be a good fit for like the mentality of playing in Detroit. Just he's gritty. He'll do what needs to get done, and he's passionate about the game. So I'd totally be fine with taking him at 5.
Awesome. Any other players, man, that come to mind?
No, I mean not like.
She wants Keegan. It's been Keegan Murray.
It's Keegan.
I was set Keegan at 5 when I thought like if we fell to 5, that's what I want. So that's what I'm just gonna roll with.
I'm not gonna lie. My gut's telling me at 5. I'm gonna start the Shaedon Sharp hype right about now.
I was trying, man.
Because in my opinion,
been on that.
Because Terry, I'm not sure what your thoughts are, but if we're in a position,
Kings are picking 4.
The Kings will be picking 4th overall. So
God damn it!
So it looks like the Kings are over the
Sacramento Kings.
Houston could be the 3rd overall pick.
Just a graveyard of just lottery picks in Houston.
Oklahoma City at 2.
Yeah,
who got?
Orlando.
I guess
Orlando.
Look at him.
Orlando Magic will be drafting number 1 overall.
What?
Sounds like a Chet location, Orlando.
Yeah.
Well, it could be like the Pistons getting the number 4 pick because Sacramento always screws it up.
Oh, 100. Exactly.
Maybe it's a good thing.
Hey, so who's dropping a pick?
But what I was going to say, Terry, I'm not sure what your thoughts are, but if you're in a position now where at the top, initially we were looking at getting our guy, our pick and roll partner, our potential big. Now, if those guys are off the board, which assuming they go 1 through 3, they might be off the board. What are your thoughts on where they should go? Do you think a guy like Sharp or one of those guards that can help with Cade in the backcourt would be a good target? What are your thoughts?
My thoughts is maybe this is a blessing in disguise because instead of focusing on Chet Holmgren or somebody offense, maybe they shade down and get somebody who's a little bit more affluent on defense. Because once again, I go back to the 2 championship teams. Both championship teams had a key player couldn't put the ball in the basket if you paid them, which they did pay them, but they didn't. They were defenders and rebounders. And both times we're like, these guys aren't going to work out, but they did. So maybe the Pistons shade that way. Troy Weaver is looking at who can defend a little bit. Maybe I'm not going to get that big score because I don't have a top 3 pick, so it could be a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah,
and I feel like in a way too, having the number 5 overall pick will kind of help Pistons fans come to a compromise. Because if we had the number 1 pick, you would hear it from every which way why I disagree with you or you disagree with Sean. Now you have the 5th pick. I mean, now Troy Weaver is operating in an area he's very comfortable. And now he gets to operate in a best player available area. And a guy who can identify talent like Troy Weaver, I think we're in a pretty good position.
And I think that this brings us into our Cade Zone. It's something that we do on our Woodward Pistons podcast. And it's something that I wish we had growing up for our players. We've had some pretty good Piston teams here, but not the best of coverage. And we always say, hey, where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? We get to change that now, thanks to people like Woodward Sports, Woodward Pistons.
Absolutely.
So Cade's on something that we do every podcast. We dedicate that time to talking about him, his effect. Hey, didn't LeBron have the ESPN ticker? Hey, listen, man, Cade is about to be a great, so we're going to get ahead of the train already, man.
Absolutely.
With Cade, what I wanted to ask everybody here is we also bring in our Woodward Pistons Table Talk crew. Is this, what's the number 1 thing that you believe Cade Cunningham will bring to the Pistons going into next season?
Start around the room.
Yeah, absolutely. First, I want to start with. Let's start with Downtown Deuce. We got our guy here, Deuce.
Yes,
what's going on, man? Thank you so much for being here, Deuce.
I love it, man. Good to be here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, what do you think Cade can bring to the Pistons next season? What kind of effect do you think he can have coming into year 2?
Leadership. I think he's giving guys reason to believe. For a long time, even though we were diehard Pistons fans, it was hard to believe. I think his effect on and off the court, from a cultural standpoint, is going to do wonders for this city. You already see the buzz that's already been generated down here. So just leadership, guys are going to believe, they're going to follow him, and he's the stir that really makes everything go. He's the engine. So looking forward to seeing what he can bring next year. He's already a mature guy. He gets that from his older brother Cannon, who played for our Larry Brown.
Right.
At SMU. So he has that maturity already about him. So going forward, that's going to be something that really spreads to the rest of the team.
Man, Cade had a lot of different connections to Detroit, man. I forgot about the Larry Brown one. I know that Ashton, shout out Ashton. Hey, man, we tried to get him on. I know he's back home right now. When he's back in Detroit, we'll definitely do something. But he has some connections. I'm glad that Cade is comfortable here. I'm glad that he wanted to be here. I remember those videos from the summer when the crowd was yelling his name at the Tigers game, and he was excited, man. And all we ever hear is that people don't want to come to Detroit. But, hey, we got Cade. Hey, Deuce, anything else about Cade?
As far as from what to expect next year, or?
Yeah, man, just his overall effect, what you think he will do for our actual draft board. For me personally, I believe that Cade Cunningham minimizes what every one of these draft picks, especially when we drop, have to actually do. Cade can just put these players in their best position to be who we need them to be.
Bingo.
Absolutely.
Rather than these players having to be something a little bit more like on their teams, a lot of the weaknesses that we're parsing with these players is from them having to be that guy. It's from them having to be the man. Well, what if they're playing next to Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, and some of the other draft picks and players that we know Troy Weaver's going to have here?
That's a great point. I would say Cade is the only guy that 1 through 5 you can say, oh yeah, Cade's going to help with this. Cade is going to help with that because he is interchangeable. He can make anybody around him better. So I think just the fact that he is so interchangeable and can play with anybody really had us really at ease with this draft because we knew what we were going to get. We know we're getting from Cade and we know what we can get from these draft picks, but we know whoever it is going to be somebody who's going to fit with Cade. That's all that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Bryce, are you still on the line with us?
I am, yeah.
Absolutely,
Yes,
Bryce. What do you think K can bring into year 2? And what do you think? And what are some of your gut reactions? What are some names that are flowing through your head right now? Now that you know that we will have the number 5 overall pick. So sorry for that interruption earlier, but so glad you're on the line with us here.
Yeah, no, I think these guys hit it right on the head. Like versatility. That's the nice thing is whether it's Jaden Ivey, Shaden Sharp, Benedict Mathurin, who are all kind of different backcourt running mates for Cade. Cade is so versatile, he's so malleable that all of those guys fit with him, even a guy like Adrian Griffin Jr. out of Duke. The other thing I want to say is crazy can happen. What if somebody falls in love with Shaden Sharp and Jaden Ivey? I don't know that we're completely out of the water with some of these top 3 guys. I know it's a consensus top 3, but I've seen big boards where those guys have fallen to 4 and 5. That number 5 spot isn't an awful place to be, and somebody said it earlier, maybe Terry, like especially with the Kings at number 4, you know they're going to mess that up, so that's just another guy that's going to fall to number 5.
Hey, Terry, they said that he agrees with you. The Kings are going to mess this thing up.
Okay,
somebody's going to fall to
us.
us.
Got the number 4 pick.
Somebody's falling to us.
Yeah, we're top 4, baby.
They'll probably take me at number 4.
Yeah, and you know what? For our tabletop crew, there's a lot of people who have done a lot of things to help us grow.
Yeah.
You know, Woodward Pistons. That is Downtown Deuce. That is Lexi. Another member that's not here is King. He had some emergencies to attend to. Mr. Everything King, we just wanted to make sure we said, what's up, man?
Yeah.
We miss you. We wish
We
you
love
could
you,
be in
King.
the studio.
Yeah.
We appreciate what you do for
Wish
us.
you were here.
But shout out to you, man. Definitely shout out to you. And the other people with Woodward Pistons. I know Andrew Jonah, Anthony Pistons Talk.
Absolutely. Also, on top of that, we got Stick in the booth
Yes.
and Easy as well that have been helping us. We got Terry Foster and Lexi, some legends in the studio. But
Yes.
also, if you're, but also,
Where's Sean over there?
but also
Detroit
Sean
Bad Boys?
Corp as well with Motor City Bad Boy. But also,
Detroit
guys,
Bad Boys.
but Detroit
Yeah.
Bad Boys. Absolutely, my apologies. But guys, I do want to say to those that are listening at home, you do not want to miss the draft content, the Pistons conversations, everything that's going to be coming up. So with that, you're going to want to make sure, first of all, you're going to want to be subscribed here at Woodward Sports because we are an up-and-coming network, one of the best networks in the state of Michigan, in the country, baby.
Do it!
Coming, baby.
Let's do it.
But on top of that,
Table Talk segment.
but on top of that, first of all, subscribe to Woodward Heavyweights, our guy Easy over there. But on top of that, Woodward Pistons and From Half Court. Woodward Pistons is where you're going to find all your official Pistons coverage. Woodward Sports.
Subscribe,
and on top of that, From Half Court is an NBA podcast, NBA content that Jeff and I do. You can find all that stuff in the description as well. But seriously,
hey, don't look at our playoff brackets though.
Yeah, don't look at our playoff brackets. We don't got to talk about that. But if you want more coverage on things like the playoffs, things coming up, you can check that out there as well. I do want to thank everyone that's tuning in. That was in the comments, joining us. People from Turkey, around the world, wherever you are joining us. Awesome. At the end of the day, the draft is in a month. We are going to be live for the NBA draft as well. Yeah. And we are going to be excited for that night too. So we hope you are as well. This is a bright future for the city of Detroit, for the state of Michigan, for the Detroit Pistons organization.
Yep.
And I hope you're as excited about it as we are. And join the journey with us.
Yep. Yes. And you know what? As we sign off, I just want to make sure that we drum this up because this is not possible without the man. I don't know who works harder than him, but Stick. Hey, start that drum roll, man. Thank you, sir.
Checks in the mail, man.
Everybody.
Checks in the mail.
Oh my gosh.
So we love you, Stick.
I want to thank y'all so much for tuning in. This was the second annual Woodward Sports NBA Draft Lottery Show. We hope to not have to do one next year. However, if the Pistons are there, we will be there as well. We want to thank y'all so much.
And I did my job. The studio is still intact.
It's still intact?
All right.
You kept it in order.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you to all of our guests.
Everyone that tuned in, to the guests, to the people that we have in studio, man. This couldn't have been done without you guys, and we appreciate it.
Hey.
And Kool-Aid, shout out to you, man, for putting this all together. We love you, man, and everything you're doing for Woodward Pistons,
man. I love everybody in this room, man.
Yeah.
You guys
Family.
have been a big part of this. This is my 1 year. So I'm excited, man.
Absolutely.
Like I said, it's a celebration.
Hey, just wait till where we be in the years to come, and we can't think.
Hold on. I've ever heard in my life.
Hold on. We're just
end the show.
Wrap it up.
Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll see you later.
We're going to drink Gypsy vodka.
Later.
Let's go. Let's do 10 more minutes of goodbye.